Hello, hello. Today we are going to talk about your answers to our previous FlipGrid assignment with the various questions. The first one being, what makes a good student? So I watched all of your FlipGrids. They were fabulous. Thank you very much. I appreciated those. These were your answers. This is what you all said makes a good student. And there's a lot of really great answers. I'm not going to read through them all, but there's a lot of really great answers that cover a lot of different areas. We are going to break down some of the popular answers. The top three, most popular and most important, are as follows. In some way, shape, or form, many of you said that in order to be a good student, you need to go to class on time. Being in class on time, being on time, all that you stated was important. And you're absolutely correct. Being on time is really important for a lot of different reasons. Number one, it just shows that you're a responsible student, that you're responsible for getting yourself where you need to be. It also shows that you have respect for the teacher's time and respect for your classmates' time. I think that's really important as well. And the other thing is that a lot of times, especially when it comes to class, being in class on time means that you won't miss out on any of the instruction that's happening, because usually usually teachers start their instruction at the beginning of the class period. That's when they give the instruction. And so if you come in, 10 minutes late, you've already missed out on 10 minutes of instruction. And then you walk in and you say, oh, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And then the teacher, says, well, if you'd get here on time, and then things tend to go downhill from there, as you may know. So it is definitely important to be on time to class. The second one that a lot of you said was important was doing your work. In some way, shape, or form, a lot of you talked about doing your work, getting your work done on time, being hardworking, focusing on work. There's very work specific. And that one, that is definitely true. In order to be a good student, you do have to do your work. Not only does it show that you have learned something, it does show that you can follow directions. And I think that's very important. And it's also less stress on you if you get your work done on time. If you get your assignments done as you get the assignments, then they don't pile up and then you don't start feeling overwhelmed. I know some people, myself included, are huge procrastinators, and they just leave everything to the end, to the last minute, and scramble to get things done, and maybe don't do a great job on it. Or maybe they leave things for a couple weeks and then all of a sudden they have, a pile of assignments that they have to do. And then they get all stressed out and they just want to quit. So it is better to just get your work done, do the best you can, and get it in on time. So that was another one that you all thought was a very popular answer. And then the third one was some sort of focusing, paying attention, listening to the instructions, things like that, which I definitely think is important also. I know that as a teacher, it is very frustrating to stand up in front of class and go through everything and explain things, and then at the end of all of that, have a student, raise their hand and say, well, I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing. What's going on, And it's because they just weren't paying attention. They were doing something else. They were, I don't know, on their phone, daydreaming, talking to their classmate, whatever it is, but they weren't paying attention. And I think that that's really important, so that you know what's going on, So those were the top three top three answers, as you can see, that was the majority of the things. There were other really great answers, following directions, being happy to learn, asking questions, doing your best, having a positive attitude. Like all of those things are really, really good answers. And those are really good things, really good habits to get into. And the reason is a lot of the things that make a good student are the same things that make a good employee. Okay? This class is all about work. It's all about working and being a good employee and that kind of thing. And the things that you do to be a good student are the same things that you do to be a good employee. So being on time, getting your work done, focusing and paying attention when given instructions. That's the same thing. Those are all really good things that make you a good employee as well as make you a good student. So getting into the habit of being on time, getting your work done, paying attention, all of those things are really good habits to get into as a student so that when you become an employee, they're easier. Now I know what you're saying. These things are a whole lot easier when you're getting paid. You know, if you're getting paid to do it, I'm going to be there on time. If I'm getting paid to do it, I'm going to do my work on time. If I'm getting paid to do it, I'll listen. And I get it, absolutely. But remember when I told you that your high school diploma is worth $10,000 a year? You are kind of getting paid for earning your high school diploma. So even though it doesn't seem like it, it's not something that you're getting right now immediately. You are getting paid to be a good student. The other thing is that once you are in the habit of doing these things, it's just something that kind of comes naturally and it's just a thing that you do, it's just going to happen. You won't even have to think about it. If you're like, well, I have to be at work at this time, boom, you're going to be at work at that time because you're used to being on time. If you don't let those other things get in the way, if you don't, get distracted when you're supposed to be working, if you get your work done, all of those things are habits to get into, and it's really useful to just have those things be things that come naturally to you. And your boss, your future bosses will appreciate it. That being said, because you all answered that these are the things that make a good student, and I know that you're all good students, these are the things that I expect from you. These are the things that I would like to see from you. These are the things I'd like to see you do. Focusing, paying attention, being on time, getting your work done, asking for help, all of those things. I am going to have those expectations for you as students. Now, on the flip side, you have also given me a list of expectations for me as a teacher. Okay, so we'll quick talk about those a little bit. Right here, these are the things that you said makes a good teacher. A lot of you said a good teacher is helpful. They help students. They explain things in different ways. They understand where students are coming from. They're patient. All of those things that you think make a good teacher. And I agree. I absolutely agree. All of these things that you said, these are great answers. These are exactly the things that make a good teacher. So just like I have expectations for you, you have expectations for me, and this is what you're expecting of me. I am going to try to live up to your expectations. I am going to do my best to be helpful and understanding and respectful and try to explain things, and I'm going to try not to yell. But I again, am only human and, not perfect. So as I try to live up to your expectations, and you try to live up to my expectations, we're going to have to be patient with each other and cut each other some slack. And I think that if we kind of stick to these rules that we've laid out for ourselves, I think we're going to end up being in a pretty good place. Also, the things that make a good teacher are the same things that make a good boss. Okay? You don't always get to choose your boss. You don't always get to choose what manager you work with for your shift. I know that when I was being scheduled, when I worked out here at the Albertville Mall, and I was being scheduled for my shifts, I always looked at what managers I was working with, because there were some managers that I got along with really well and other managers that I didn't get along with so well. And part of the reason was because those managers did not do these things that are right here on this list. So these are things to look for in a boss, even though I know you can't always choose. But these are things to look for if you are able to. Last thing I want to talk about real quick is, besides money, why do people work? Many of you answered things that have to do with money, so we have to cross those off. And then it narrows it down to a lot of answers like making new friends. You don't want to be bored. You want to learn new skills, get experience, those types of things. But the biggest thing that people work, the biggest reason people work besides money, is because they like what they're doing. If I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be a teacher. I believe I've said that before. I'll say it again. If I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be a teacher. I'm a teacher because I love being a teacher. I love what I do. I love being in a classroom with students and having class discussions and getting knowledge across to you and seeing you, learn things or, decide things. I love my job. Is it perfect? No. There's stuff I don't like about my job, absolutely. But overall, I really love my job. And one of my goals for this year is to try to help you figure out what it is that you can do for the rest of your life that you will love as much as I love being a teacher, so that when you're working, it doesn't feel like you're working. That's my goal. So that's something for you all to think about, of what might you want to do that you really like to do, that maybe you get paid to do legitimately, and how can that be your job for the rest of your life? Something to think about.